Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Bizcoon, and today we're revisiting someone that I haven't reacted to in a while, and that is Blooms, South Park content creator. This time, it seems that things aren't looking too good for South Park. For those that don't know, the newest season is supposed to be coming out this year, but I haven't really been keeping up that much with it, but some of the things that I do know is that as of recently, there was the whole, drama between South Park and, HBO Max and Paramount with regards to, the streaming rights, where HBO gained the rights to have, the whole series up and a few specials, but South Park's creators found a loophole that allowed them to make exclusive deals with Paramount. And they were basically, long story short, it was they promised HBO specials, but they didn't promise them exclusive events, which is what they were doing with Paramount. And the Streaming Wars event, the two-parter, right, basically was talking about that whole situation. But as of recently, Paramount has been wanting to more or less also have rights to it, I think. But one of the things that Paramount's been doing is that they're pulling episodes from the service, like a number of episodes. I know one off the top of my head was the episode with Big Gay Al's boat ride or something like that. And they also pulled a bunch of episodes that featured anything to do with Jewish related stuff, given recent events, right? And then there are other episodes that are also pulled from Paramount Plus, and I don't really know the full details of what's actually going on. I just know that that's just the basic gist. But with regards to the newest season, I think one of the things that I'm most hyped for, granted that it actually comes out, is Starvin' Marvin versus P. Diddy. I think that's gonna be crazy. And then there's the whole Randy Marsh being on ketamine and fucking with the government. No, I'm waiting for the Iraqi Sesame Street episode featuring Stop Touching Me Elmo, who's clearly ecstatic by the fact that Iraq recently made their age of consent 9. And you know damn well Stop Touching Me Elmo is going to take advantage of that. But before we get started, make sure you guys go check out Blooms and watch his original video before watching this one to show your support. And then when you're done with that, you can come back to this one, like and subscribe and all that. And let's actually see what's really going on with South Park.
South Park is not in a good place right now. There's so much going on, I don't even know where to begin. There have been lawsuits, more lawsuits, delays, and censorship, but the worst part is that the fans of South Park are the ones really getting the short end of the stick. The big corporate entities behind all of this have been shafting the fans so hard, it's like they were covered in baby oil and tossed into a Diddy party head first. Now,
Still waiting. No, the Starvin' Marvin P. Diddy episode is gonna be crazy. Is Marklar going to be involved? No, we haven't seen Starvin' Marvin since then. So, is Marklar somehow involved in the Diddy stuff? No, this is gonna be, but if it's being delayed, I don't know. I don't know.
oh, sorry, there was something in my throat. So if you haven't been keeping up on all the drama that is South Park's move to Paramount Plus,
Yeah, sorry.
well, here is basically the entire situation incredibly oversimplified in a few sentences. In 2019, South Park made an exclusive deal with HBO Max to stream the show. Then in 2021, South Park signed another exclusive deal with Paramount, which meant less South Park for HBO Max.
Right. One of the things that happened with regards to the deal that they had is that whatever newer seasons, I remember watching watching this season. I think this was the latest season. One of the things that happened is that because so much of the production was used to make the exclusive events, the seasons, the latest seasons had basically very few episodes, and those specials pretty much account for like many episodes worth, and it's been a source of contention between HBO and Paramount and South Park Studios themselves.
Bill was not happy about this and would file a lawsuit against Paramount, which is still going on at the moment. But
yep, and this is actually the basis of the streaming wars, basically.
Paramount are now set to merge with Skydance, another major media corporation, right as South Park was set to begin exclusively streaming on Paramount+. So Skydance now has to approve all of the deals Paramount makes, and they come into the company and say, we don't like this deal with South Park, so we're going to change the terms. To which Matt and Trey then responded by threatening a lawsuit of their own.
Yep.
This has led to the release of South Park Season 27 being pushed back a couple weeks, the show remaining on HBO Max for the time being, and an uncertain future of where the show will even end up. And on top of all of that, it has been rumored that this move to Paramount Plus will result in another 12 episodes.
Oh yeah, these episodes are the ones that, well, among others, I'm assuming, that have basically been pulled. Like, I met Big Gay Al's boat ride was one of them. And then, now obviously we know that Super Best Friends, Cartoon Wars, and 200 are obviously, those have been banned forever. And some of these other ones kind of have to deal with, like Jubacapra and Ginger Cow. Those should be obvious. Trapped in the Closet, I can assume that it has to do with the fact that that's Scientology. Oh, Passion of the Jew as well. I'm not even sure why The Simpsons did it. I'm guessing Fox might have something to do with that. Jared has AIDS, that one is pretty obvious. Terrence and Phillip, Not Without My Anus, that's, well, people didn't necessarily like that one because of the cliffhanger regarding Cartman's father, but you get the idea.
Episodes being removed from the streaming platform on top of the 5 episodes that have already been banned, leaving us with a whopping 17 banned episodes of South Park. And that's where we are now. And I think I speak for pretty much all the fans of South Park when I say this has been an absolute shit show and I just want more South Park. I guess I...
No shit. I mean, this kind of stuff, you kind of comes with the territory. There will always be disputes when making shows. You'll pitch a show to one network and then that network might reject it, and then a different network ends up picking it up instead. I remember Ed, Edd n Eddy was originally pitched to Nickelodeon and they rejected it, and then they pitched it to Cartoon Network and obviously accepted it. I think Phineas and Ferb had something similar happen, but I don't remember the original network it was pitched to.
Also speak for Matt and Trey because that's pretty much exactly what they said in the statement they released.
In response to the press release from Comedy Central about the change in premiere date, this merger is a shit show, and it's fucking up South Park. We are at the studio working on new episodes, and we hope the fans get to see them somehow. Don't worry, guys. We're right there with you. You're not alone in this. We're all in this together, as they say.
Regarding this entire situation. Now, I'll be honest, I don't even fully understand this situation myself. I'm not the type of guy that wants to sit here and break down a battle between two corporate giants. I'm the guy who likes to talk about the things that he finds interesting and make it entertaining. So while this video will go over the major points of the situation for context, it's only going to be as much as is necessary to talk about the points I want to talk about. This one...
Right. Me here reacting to this, I just want to make sure that I'm well informed about what's going on, even if it's not necessarily a complete and total deep dive. I know that Johnny Two Cellos has been making a few videos about this whole situation, but, you know.
Won't be any kind of comprehensive breakdown of everything going on. If that's what you're looking for, I recommend Johnny Two Cello's videos on...
Yeah. I might watch those on my own time. I wanted to react to this one because Bloom's doesn't upload very often, so I felt that it was only appropriate to show some support. And you guys should do that too. If you haven't watched his video, make sure you guys go watch it.
His channel, Johnny Too Casual, where he goes into depth about everything regarding this lawsuit and what it could mean for the show. He also has a video on his main channel where he discusses the episodes that will potentially be removed, and I suggest you watch that if you want to fully understand what's going on. But the reason I'm making...
Oh yeah, I watched that episode. Yeah, some of the banned episodes were very odd.
This video is because this whole situation has really annoyed me, especially the potential banning of new episodes, and I have a lot of thoughts that I really need to get off my chest. I just want to rant, and knowing that none of my friends or family would care in the slightest, I'll just do what YouTubers are best at and monetize the things that I should be sharing with a therapist.
Don't worry, we're here for you.
So, let's start with what has become easily the most frustrating part of all of this.
Censorship, yep.
So South Park has over 300 episodes at this point, and for a long time now, 5 of those have been officially banned.
Yeah, these ones because of their depiction of you-know-who.
Super Best Friends, Cartoon Wars Part 1 and 2, and 200 and 201. These have all been removed from streaming services and syndication for many years at this point, and it's all because of their attempts at portraying the Prophet Muhammad, resulting in terrorist threats. I've made an entire video breaking down that whole situation if you're interested. So,
I could make an entire video about that, but right now is not the time.
As the show was set to move to Paramount, we all knew that these episodes wouldn't appear on the platform. But a couple of weeks ago, a news story began to circulate claiming that when the show moved to Paramount Plus, a whopping 17 episodes would not be streaming on the platform. Now, I'm certainly not an expert in math, but upon hearing this news, I did pick up on something interesting. 17 is a bigger number than 5. I came to the conclusion that this...
Wow, I didn't even realize that. Shit. No, we need to go deep into the numerology. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4, which is 1 less than 5. 5 plus 4 is 9, which is a number that's very important in Pythagorean thought. It all makes sense now.
This meant they must be banning more episodes. There was a list that was floating around which supposedly contained the episodes that were going to be banned, so let's take a look at these. The list included Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride, Terrence and Phillip and Not Without My Anus, Pip, Super Best Friends, Jared Has AIDS, Simpsons Did It, Cancelled, Passion of the Jew, You Got F'd in the A, 2 Days Before the Day After Tomorrow, Trapped in the Closet, Cartoon Wars 200 201, Chupacabra, and Ginger Cow. Now when I saw this, it immediately struck me as suspicious. I began looking into it, and I couldn't find any legitimate source confirming these claims. The only thing people were saying was that these episodes were banned in countries where Paramount was already streaming South Park, like Canada and the UK.
Oh, is that what was going on? It was only banned in, like, other countries? But, I mean, I know for a fact that the entire series is banned in Sri Lanka because of the one scene in... Which was it? Cartoon... No, not... Was it Cartoon Wars or was it 200 201? But one of those had the Buddha snorting cocaine. And that by itself got the entire series banned in Sri Lanka.
To which I immediately thought, this is America. These silly rules that other countries have to follow don't apply to us. We have...
This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, brother.
freedom and democracy.
I mean, he's not black anymore, but... Boondocks.
And the First Amendment. Banning more South Park? What is this, some kind of communist country? Besides, a bunch of countries have banned a bunch of episodes of South Park for years, and that has never applied to us, as if they would ban more South Park. And then I went about my day as any good old American boy would. But then I got a message from Johnny, who said that there was some pretty compelling evidence to suggest that these episodes were actually getting banned.
I thought this was America!
Yep, here we go. Shit.
Isn't this America?
I was going to... I don't know where. I was going to mention Land of the Free, or at least a parody of that. Let's just keep going.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America!
So as he breaks down in his video on the topic, what he did is go through the Comedy Central broadcast schedule to see if these episodes were still being syndicated, and wouldn't you know it, several of them were absent from the broadcast.
Oh, okay, I see.
Again, I recommend you check out his video if you want a more detailed look at this, but what he discovered is that several of the episodes from the list were not airing on Comedy Central, but some of them were still airing. So that did seem kind of compelling, but the main
some of them were airing, but others weren't.
question for me is, why were these episodes even removed from the streaming service in the first place? At first glance, these episodes don't even have anything in common. But what Johnny figured out is that some of them do have a common theme, one that caused an episode of another show to be removed as well. So there's this show called Nathan...
Oh, I remember this. I remember this, actually. It has to do with them being Jewish. That's ultimately what it has to do with, and what's going on in the Middle East. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say on that. On that. All right.
For you that streams on Paramount. It stars Nathan Fielder, a comedian who goes around to failing businesses and tries to help save them. He does so in the most absurd ways possible, and it is a hilarious show. There's an episode where he finds out that the jacket brand he likes to wear promoted a Holocaust denier, which led to outrage from the Jewish communities.
Oh, I see.
So, to rectify his sins, he creates his own jacket brand where the primary focus is reminding everyone that the Holocaust did in fact happen.
It was important to me.
Yep, and that's basically... I don't know if you guys know what's happening on the far left side of things, specifically on Twitch. Hamas, Diddy, Bin Laden, Adolf, Epstein, Piker. That's all you're getting out of me. If you want to learn more, go look all that stuff up at your own risk.
That every single person involved in the brand shared in the company's core beliefs.
6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, approximately.
Okay.
So how many Jews died then in the Holocaust?
6 million?
Okay, great. Go sell some jackets.
Okay.
And he even goes as far as to promote it in a local store with a display that a local rabbi helped design.
Definitely makes a statement.
Damn.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely makes a statement.
Okay. I want to follow your lead on this.
So then,
This is weird. I'm not gonna lie.
in one of his new shows, The Rehearsal, Nathan learns that this episode had been removed from Paramount.
Oh, that's right. That's what I remember. That he made an episode calling out the fact that that episode got removed. That's what I was remembering.
and gets direct confirmation from the higher-ups that it was due to Paramount's sensitivities regarding potential anti-Semitism. Now, this is especially ironic considering Nathan is Jewish, but regardless, that's the reason that they gave. And when you look at this list of supposedly banned South Park episodes, it's pretty clear that most of them were removed for similar reasons. So let's go through it. In Canceled, the boys learned that Earth is actually an intergalactic...
Yep. Yeah, the schnozzes on these guys, it's very obvious. I mean, one of the creators, I believe it's Matt Stone, is Jewish. Basically, by censoring these episodes, they're insinuating that Stone isn't allowed to make fun of his own people, which, as someone who is half Mexican, allow me to make fun of my own people. Ay, taco burrito ese, yo quiero Taco Bell ese. What are you talking about? Who dares to call themselves the new Jennifer Lopez, who likes tacos and burritos?
reality show run by the Jewsians, an alien race who controls the intergalactic equivalent of Hollywood. I really doubt I have to explain this one. Passion of the Jews.
Because everybody knows that Kyle runs Hollywood, which actually reminds me, why isn't that episode on this list? It literally talks about the exact same subject matter. They all think that Kyle runs Hollywood, and then we have Cupid Yee running around spreading Jew hatred.
Sees Cartman attempt to bring about the Fourth Reich after being inspired by the Passion of the Christ. And 2 days before the day after tomorrow, Cartman is constantly pestering Kyle to give him his Jew gold, which all
Jew gold, right.
Jews store in a little pouch around their neck. Chupacabra is all about the history of Jews, and in Ginger Cow, Cartman accidentally brings peace to the Middle East through the power of Van Halen. These are the ones...
The power of where all of the three religious symbols formed the the Van Halen emblem. It's so fun. It's hilarious.
That have the most obvious reasoning, but the other ones are a little harder to figure out. Both Big Gay Owls and the Terrence and Phillips special have jokes about the Holocaust in them. Trapped in the Closet had its...
Oh, do they? I figured in the back of my head it has to do with Big Gay Owl being gay, with Pride Month kind of falling off in the corporate sense, but, you know.
Own controversy with Tom Cruise and Scientology, which I made a whole video about, and Jared...
Yeah, the Scientology and Jared episodes, you can probably figure out why those would be pulled.
Jared Has AIDS was actually removed from airing on Comedy Central for years following its release due to the extensive amount of AIDS jokes, so neither of those two are very surprising to see. The only ones I have absolutely no clue about are Simpsons Did It and You Got F'd in the A, which I honestly can't find anything that we...
The only thing I can think of with regards to Simpsons Did It is Fox decided that they didn't want it. Which episode is You Got F'd in the A? There's so many episodes that it's hard to keep up.
Explain their removal. And of course, the only one that makes sense to me is Pip, because it's just incredibly offensive to have that many British people on the screen all the time. But
British, because she bought a water.
Obviously, the majority of these episodes were banned for perceived anti-Semitism, with the executives at Paramount believing that anti-Semitism as a whole is on the rise due to the ongoing conflict with Israel and Palestine. Now, you're not watching this video to hear about my personal politics, so we're not going to go there. I'll leave that to the experts, the Twitch streamers. But what I'm more than happy...
I could comment on it, but I don't have enough time in my weekly schedule. I have a traditional 9-to-5 job, so once I get my 3D model, though, then I might start streaming.
To share my opinions on is censorship. So here it is. Censorship is bad. Crazy hot take, I know. But since the executives at Paramount obviously don't understand why this is bad, let me explain it in the simplest possible terms for them. South Park is a satirical show. The definition of satire is the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics or other topical issues. When South Park has Cartman lead the Fourth Reich or pester Kyle for his Jew gold, it is not because they are anti-Semitic. They are making fun of people like Cartman for behaving in this way.
It's because we all know what needs to be done, and Cartman will be sending them all to the camps.
When they have an alien race based on Jews control Hollywood, they're not saying that Hollywood is run by the Jews. They are using stereotypes to emphasize how ridiculous it is to believe this.
I know, right? Everybody knows that it's not the Jews in general that run Hollywood. It's Kyle specifically that runs Hollywood, obviously.
Just because they don't spell it out for you in the end like they do in Cupid Yee, an episode from the last season that directly points out the flaws in these conspiracies, doesn't mean that they are being anti-Semitic. They're making the exact same point, they're just letting the viewers put it together instead of spelling it out directly. So assuming you guys understand that, which might be too much to ask from these executives, now let's explain why censorship does far more harm than good. Let's think about it from the perspective of you, the executives. You believe that due to Israel's actions, there has been an increase in anti-Semitic beliefs, primarily conspiracies suggesting that Jewish people control all of the media to control the narrative around Jews as a whole, and specifically Israel. So you, the executives, who are primarily Jewish, decide that the way to get people to stop believing this is to use your platform to censor a comedy show, which is actually making fun of these same people for making jokes about Jewish people. Do you see the issue here? In an effort to silence the people who believe these things, you are doing exactly what they are accusing you of doing, therefore only strengthening these people's beliefs. And on top of that, you are creating a textbook example of the Streisand effect, bringing attention to a bunch of jokes that no one besides South Park fans have even thought about in years. Yeah,
the Streisand effect is pretty much what happened with I had mentioned the Turkish terrorist, we can call him. Like, I was going to mention the whole BB-nose thing with Asmongold's face being covered up, which ultimately resulted in a Streisand effect, but at this point, I'm just trying to be transformative.
This is the issue with censorship as a whole. This doesn't only apply to this situation. In my opinion, censoring ideas because they are controversial or offensive only ever makes these movements stronger. Censorship makes martyrs. When people who already share these beliefs see that someone is being censored, they start to think, well, I mean, if they had to silence this person, they must be onto something. Think about people like Andrew Tate or Alex Jones, both of which were deplatformed and censored for their controversial beliefs. As soon as these people were censored, their movements only grew stronger. Censorship always makes everything worse, no matter what. The most effective way to...
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what side of the spectrum you're on, or even how far gone beyond the spectrum you are. Sometimes it's not really sometimes it's just worth letting them speak so that your average person can realize how full of shit that some of those people are.
Fight back against potentially harmful movements is to criticize them publicly to show the whole world how dumb these beliefs are, like South Park did in the Cupid Yee episode. Sure, some people are going to believe what they want to believe no matter what, but it's much harder to build a case when the issues with a movement are laid out for anyone to see. Think about Flat Earth. Sure, there will always be people that will believe Flat Earth no matter what, but all of the reasons Flat Earthers are wrong are public knowledge. But imagine if NASA from the beginning was just deleting everything about the Flat Earth movement from the internet instead of showing the reasons the Earth isn't flat. People would start to think, well, why are they trying to cover it up if it's not true? And the following would grow significantly. I feel kind of
yeah, one of the things regarding Flat Earth is that how exactly is the whole world, many countries hate each other, yet for some reason they are all in a conceited effort to trick their populations into thinking that the world is round. It would have to be on a massive global scale, the likes of which no one's ever seen before. I mean, even the ancient Greeks and Egyptians knew that the Earth was round.
ridiculous explaining such an obvious concept, but clearly the executives over at Paramount still don't understand this. I think the strangest part about all of this is the fact that Matt and Trey haven't come out and said anything about this. In the past, they have fought tooth and nail to try to prevent episodes from being banned, and the fact that they haven't commented on this yet is very out of character for them. So honestly, who knows if these episodes will actually be banned once the show moves to Paramount. Okay, so I just did that entire section yesterday when these episodes were still not on Paramount Plus internationally, but literally today, as I began writing the rest of the script, it has come out that all of these episodes besides the 5 Muhammad episodes have returned to
Good lord, what a roller coaster of what the hell. No, these episodes were missing for the longest time, and now all of a sudden they're just back? This is news to me, so let's go.
Paramount Plus. So at this point, it seems likely that these episodes will be on Paramount Plus when the show moves there. Now, what I believe happened is that Paramount was absolutely planning on banning these episodes in the US, but due to ongoing contract negotiations, Matt and Trey most likely demanded that these episodes remain on the service if they want their show to be on Paramount Plus. Now, obviously, this makes everything I said in this section kind of irrelevant, but I think the fact that they were even considering...
Well, even if it's irrelevant, it's still part of the overarching story, if we want to call it that.
Banning these episodes is important to mention because, like I said, censorship is always bad. And I'm sure there's a joke in here that could be made about the fact that these executives were willing to ignore this so-called anti-Semitism at the prospect of making a lot of money, but that would be in poor taste, so I'll leave...
No. Do you want to know what's going to happen? No, there's going to be an episode within the new season that talks about this whole situation about the banning of these other episodes, simply because they're talking about Jewish jokes. Oh, Lord, no, that would be amazing. I can imagine Sheila wanting to censor, like, maybe Terrence and Philip episodes for making Jewish jokes, with Kyle being against that, and maybe even Gerald.
Leave it at that. But Matt and Trey most likely making these demands is a good place to segue into talking about the absolute shit show that is this legal battle.
Lawsuits.
So as I mentioned in the intro, this all started when Matt and Trey signed exclusive deals for 2 different streaming services. The deal they signed with Paramount included a series of specials that would be streaming on Paramount Plus exclusively, 2 specials per year. So HBO is expecting to have 10 episodes streaming per season, but instead what they got was 6 episode seasons because the 2 Paramount Plus specials were equivalent in length to 4 normal episodes.
Yeah, this is something I mentioned before. The reason why these seasons are so short is because literally a third of them, right? Well, not a third, but a little over a third of them were basically being used to make legally they used the term exclusive event. They didn't promise HBO exclusive events. They decided to do that with Paramount instead.
seasons. Since these were specials and not technically episodes of South Park, they weren't included in their exclusive deal with HBO. Not to mention the fact that season 24 of South Park, the first new season to come out during the HBO contract, was only 2 specials in length due to COVID. So basically, HBO got really screwed over here, expecting 30 episodes over 3 seasons and instead only getting the equivalent of 16. Not to mention the fact that they decided to postpone season 27 and didn't air any new episodes in 2024. Matt and Trey actually made 2 of those Paramount specials about this whole situation called the Streaming Wars. I have videos breaking down both of those specials if you're interested. So HBO's parent
Oh, those specials are crazy. I mentioned that as well at the beginning.
company, Warner Brothers, filed a lawsuit against Paramount because, yeah, I wouldn't be too happy if I paid $500 million and didn't even get half of the expected product. This lawsuit is still going on, and it's been so long at this point that the deal with HBO has already ended and South Park should be streaming on Paramount. But following a ruling in the court earlier this year, it's not looking good for Paramount, so South Park is still on HBO Max. At first, it was rumored that South Park might stream on both services as the lawsuit played out. Then it came out that the show might not even stream on Paramount at all due to this merger with Skydance, and now it seems like it probably will stream on Paramount as negotiations move forward, but this is where things get really messy. So it seems like both HBO and Netflix are interested in having South Park on their platforms in the future as Matt and Trey continue to negotiate with these companies. Specifically, they were negotiating a 10-year deal with HBO to stream on their platform as well as Paramount Plus. This confused me at first because I thought the Paramount deal was exclusive, but I realized the only thing exclusive to Paramount was the specials.
Yeah, only the specials are exclusive. I guess everything else is fair game. Now, Netflix getting involved is something new. I hadn't heard that yet. And I don't really know anything about the Paramount Skydance merger. I don't even know what Skydance is. This is honestly my first time actually hearing about it. I might have to do my own research.
Streaming rights of the normal show were not exclusive. But with the new executives moving in from Skydance and taking over at Paramount, they began to meddle in these negotiations, specifically requesting that the new episodes be exclusive to Paramount for an entire year and that their deal with HBO be shortened to 5 years instead of 10. Matt and Trey were clearly not happy about these new people at Paramount getting involved with their negotiations, as their media company Park County came out with a statement to Paramount basically saying they have no right to make these demands in these negotiations and threatening to sue Paramount over this. Now, all of this has taken place within the last couple of weeks as we crept towards South Park's season 27 release date of July 9th. Then, about a week ago, it was announced that the season would be delayed until July 23rd.
I'm very tempted to want to react to these episodes, honestly, but I have to make sure that I do so within the bounds of like copyright and fair use, so I'll try my best.
Point, Matt and Trey are pretty fed up with all of this as they immediately released their first direct statement on the whole situation. Quote, "This merger is a shit show and it's fucking up South Park. We are at the studio working on new episodes and we hope the fans get to see them somehow." A beautiful statement which contained all of the eloquence we have come to expect from Matt and Trey. And with that, we are finally caught up on all of the major events of this complex lore, feeling only kind of lost, like I just tried to explain the FNAF timeline. So now the real question is, what does all of this mean for South Park? Well, to start, that statement from Matt and Trey is at least slightly concerning, considering the wording of "we hope the fans get to see them somehow" seems to
Somehow, which implies that who knows.
imply that it's possible we don't see them. Now, realistically, of course, I think we will see them. This is more just Matt and Trey being a little melodramatic about it because they're more
Wannabe posers.
right? But still, it's a weird thing to say. And in their statement threatening to sue Paramount, they did say that if they didn't stop interfering, they may, quote, discharge any obligations they have to the public, which again sounds like it would effectively be a strike from South Park Studios. Now, the one
Shit.
positive thing that has come out of all of this is the fact that those episodes reappeared on Paramount Plus. Because like I said, in my mind, that shows that Matt and Trey are moving forward in their negotiations with Paramount. But I really do think their statement kind of captures how all of us feel about this whole thing. They're tired of dealing with all these lawsuits and mergers, and all they want to do is make South Park, which is perfect because all the fans want to do is watch South Park, and all I want to do is talk about it.
And all I want to do is react to people talking about it and maybe react to the episodes themselves. We're all on the same boat here, and it's clearly a very bumpy ride.
I can only imagine how exhausted Matt and Trey are with all this, being that they are so incredibly ambitious that it seems like it could be hurting them. I mean, over the past few years, they have signed all these deals, made the equivalent of 10 episodes of South Park every year except for last year, bought Casa Bonita, and basically rebuilt the entire
Oh yeah, they did buy Casa Bonita. Whatever Cartman said.
restaurant from the ground up, made a video game, which to be fair didn't seem like they put much of their time into, and are currently in the process of making a return to the big screen as they have been working on a film with Kendrick Lamar. And they've done all of this while having to deal with these lawsuits and mergers. So with season 27, I'm sure at this point they just want to get it out. Something else that's interesting is that with the release of the season 27 trailer, it seems like they had already done a lot of work on the season, even back when it released at the beginning of April. This is unusual because they usually make South Park on such a tight schedule with only 6 days spent on each episode. So
Right, so the fact that they decided to do all this like ahead of time, you know how much can happen in like a half a year? Or even just a quarter of a year. This was released, the trailer was released back in April. You know how much time, you know how many events happen in like within these 3 months? Granted, they're probably still making episodes for this season. Who knows? This new season might be bigger than we expected. But I guess we'll have to wait until it comes out.
The fact that they had so much done in April suggests that they might already have finished at least a couple episodes. Now, this is probably due to the fact that they only released a single Paramount Plus special last year, and they probably had already made a second one by the time all of this legal stuff really started to hit the fan. So many are speculating that they're going to turn that special into a 2-part episode to kick off the new season. Although I've also heard rumors from some people with connections that they've actually had the entire season finished for a while now. Obviously, I can't speak to the validity of these claims, but what I do know is that the trailer showed a lot more than we would usually get for a season announcement. But this is also kind of concerning for me. One of South Park's biggest appeals is their ability to stay topical since the episodes are made in such a short time frame. So if there were episodes that were made almost a year ago, will they already be outdated by the time they actually air? The trailer has a heavy focus on the whole—
Oh yeah, this is something that kind of happened with, like, American Dad. They wanted American Dad to have, like, political commentary, but because of just how long it takes to make an episode of that show, they actually had to, like, look up certain people that were referenced in order to know, like, wait, who is this person? And so they decided not to do that anymore, and basically, you know what I mean.
Canada versus the US thing that was a huge news story a few months ago, but for the most part, it seems like all of that has settled down a good amount and no one's really talking about that. I mean, even the fact that we got a glimpse of Diddy in the trailer, while that case is arguably more relevant than ever, there has been some pretty major updates since they presumably made that episode.
Yeah, apparently some of the charges ended up being... He was found not guilty on things like... I'm sorry, he found not guilty on, like, racketeering and sex trafficking. But he was found guilty on prostitution, which could land him up to 20 years, but you know damn well that's not gonna happen.
I hope that with this extra time, they've been able to go back and tweak the show to keep it more topical, because if there's one thing that would hurt the quality of the show, it's being late to an issue that's already been resolved. But honestly, I don't even really care right now. At this point, I'm just hoping we get to watch new South Park. Whether it be on Paramount Plus, HBO Max, Netflix, hell, they could even put it on Fubo and I'd sign up for a free trial. All I want is new South Park and uncensored old South Park, and I will be content. Yes, even the Pip episode, as much as it hurts to admit. And honestly, that's pretty much all I had to say on this topic. So, that's about it.
Alright, yeah. Well then, I'm still pretty excited for the new season, even if it's been delayed. And hopefully they'll be able to, even if they had to tweak some of the pre-existing episodes, or even, who knows, they might surprise us. But either way, that was a good video regarding everything that's been going on with lawsuits and banned episodes and stuff. The fact that those episodes came back is, I guess, in many ways is a relief. Obviously, the 5 Super Best Friends episodes, obviously those are still, like, not there, but regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. It was a little jumbled, I'm a little tired, but hope to see you guys in the next time. Make sure you guys check out his channel and all that, and I'll see you whenever.